Elon Musk just dropped one of the biggest announcements in SpaceX history. And if you've been following him for years, you know this is a major pivot. SpaceX has officially shifted focus from Mars to building what Elon calls a self growing city on the moon. He says they can do it in less than 10 years. Mars, that's now a 20 plus year timeline. Now, if you remember, just last year, Elon said, and I'm quoting, the moon is a distraction. We're going straight to Mars. That was January 2025. 14 months later, complete reversal. Today, I'm going to break down exactly what Elon said, why he changed his mind, what this means for Starship, and most importantly, what this means for Tesla investors. Because this connects to SpaceX Tesla synergies in ways most people aren't talking about. Let's get into it. So here's what Elon posted on X today. Quote, for those unaware, SpaceX has already shifted focus to building a self-growing city on the moon, as we can potentially achieve that in less than 10 years, whereas Mars would take 20 plus years. He continues, the mission of SpaceX remains the same: extend consciousness and life as we know it to the stars. Now here's the key part. He explains why the moon is faster. It is only possible to travel to Mars when the planets align every 26 months. That's a 6 month trip time. But you can launch to the moon every 10 days, 2 day trip time. That means SpaceX can iterate much faster on the moon than on Mars. In a follow up post, Elon clarified Mars will start in 5 or 6 years. So will be done in parallel with the moon, but the moon will be the initial focus. And he got more specific in another reply. The moon city can be made to be self growing in less than half the time of Mars. The critical juncture for humanity's expansion beyond Earth is having a self growing civilization off world before the resupply ships stop coming. And that last part is key. He's worried about existential event, natural or man-made, that stops resupply ships from Earth. The goal is to get a self-sustaining colony established as fast as possible, and the moon gets you there faster. He even posted just 2 words, actually four. He said civilization on the moon, and it got over 60,000 likes. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. This is a complete reversal from what Elon said just last year. January 2025, Elon wrote on X, no, we're going straight to Mars. The moon is a distraction. 14 months later, the moon is now the priority. So, what changed? Three things. First, Starship development. Starship is further along than it was a year ago, but it's still not Mars ready. The orbital refueling demonstration, which is required for any Mars mission, is now targeted for June 2026. An uncrewed lunar landing is targeted for June 2027. A crewed lunar mission isn't expected until September 2028. Those timelines tell you everything. The moon is a proving ground. You test it on the moon, you iterate, you learn, and then you go to Mars. Second, XAI acquisition. SpaceX just acquired XAI less than a week ago. That deal valued SpaceX at $1 trillion dollars and XAI at $250 billion. Elon has talked about using AI to help design and build Starship faster. He's talked about orbital data centers. The AI capabilities are now in house. Third, existential urgency. Elon has been more explicit lately about his concern that something could interrupt Earth's ability to support space. A war, a pandemic, an asteroid. If the resupply ships stop, any off world colony dies. The fastest path to a self sustaining civilization is the moon, period. He made this point directly. The critical juncture for humanity's expansion beyond Earth is having a self growing civilization off world before the resupply ships stop coming. And here's the thing, he's not abandoning Mars, he's sequencing moon first, then Mars. He said Mars work starts in 5 to 6 years, running in parallel. But the moon is the initial focus because it's the fastest path to the goal that actually matters, a backup for human civilization. So, from my perspective, this isn't a retreat, it's a strategic resequencing based on what SpaceX can actually achieve in the next decade. So, what does this moon city actually look like? Elon has been teasing this for a while. He's repeatedly called it Moon Base Alpha, a reference to the 1970s British TV show Space 1999. A few months ago, he posted, Starship will build Moon Base Alpha. And when someone shared a photo of the moon rising behind a starship at Starbase, Elon commented, let's go to the moon again. Let's go and stay. Let's go build Moon Base Alpha. The concept is a self growing city. So, what does that mean? It means a colony that can expand without Earth constantly sending more materials. You use lunar resources, you manufacture on site, you build infrastructure that enables more building. Today, Elon addressed competition. He said other countries or companies might land something on the moon before SpaceX, and he'd congratulate them. But then he added this, what really matters for the future is being able to land millions of tons of equipment and people to build a self growing city on the moon. In this respect, perhaps we are more than the tortoise than the hare for now. That's a very Elon framing. He's not racing to plant a flag, he's building the infrastructure to move millions of tons. That's Starship. That's the long game. And remember, SpaceX already has a $4 billion NASA contract to land astronauts on the moon for the Artemis program. The infrastructure is being built, the test flights are happening. The moon city isn't a fantasy, it's a roadmap. Okay, so here's the part Tesla investors should pay attention to. Why does the moon city matter for Tesla? Three reasons. First, Optimus. Elon has explicitly said he wants to use Optimus humanoid robots to build infrastructure on the moon and Mars. In the Cheeky Pint interview from last week, he talked about Grok orchestrating fleets of Optimus robots. Quote, you want to build a factory. Grok organizes the robots. Now, think about that in the context of Moonbase Alpha. You're not sending thousands of humans to the moon to do construction. You're sending robots, and those robots are built by Tesla. They're running Tesla AI. And now, with XAI inside SpaceX, the orchestration layer is integrated. Tesla just converted the Model S and X lines at Fremont to Optimus production, or at least they're in the path to conversion, maybe in the next quarter or two. They're targeting 50,000 units this year. One of the markets for those robots could literally be the moon. Not sure they'll hit 50,000, but anything over 5,000, 10,000, that is plenty to get trained. And then eventually, some of those can start going to the moon next year. Second, SpaceX Tesla synergies. Elon has not denied a potential SpaceX Tesla merger. In fact, when asked directly on the Chica Pine podcast, he deflected rather than saying no. Betting markets currently assign a 15% chance to a Tesla SpaceX merger. SpaceX is planning an IPO for mid 2026, potentially raising $50 billion at a valuation of $1.5 trillion. One scenario analysts are discussing, SpaceX merges with or acquires Tesla, giving Tesla shareholders exposure to the space business. The Moon City announcement makes SpaceX's long term value proposition even stronger. Third, the technology transfer. SpaceX and Tesla share engineering talent, they share manufacturing philosophy, battery technology, power electronics, software architecture. A lunar base needs power systems, solar, battery storage. It needs autonomous vehicles. It needs robots. Tesla builds all of those things. There are so many things that Tesla's going to be able to do. And just the AI chips for the solar based data centers, that apparently is 60% the cost of a data center. Tesla is front and center. Then they're building the solar panels. The work that's already happening in the solar panel factory is moving fast. So when Reuters reported on this story today, they framed it as SpaceX telling investors it would prioritize the moon. That's institutional capital paying attention to the shift. For Tesla investors, the question isn't whether the Moon City directly adds to Tesla's revenue next quarter. It doesn't. The question is whether this strengthens the thesis that Elon's companies are building toward a shared future, one where the hardware, the software, AI, and manufacturing capabilities are interchangeable. And the answer to that question is clearly yes. Just can't believe that this is actually possibly happening. And as a Tesla investor, we get a chance to participate in this if truly Tesla does merge with SpaceX. But even if Tesla doesn't merge with SpaceX, the fact that Elon is now targeting the moon, and think about this for a second, he's building a city on the moon, a self sustaining city on the moon. They're going to need robots. They're going to need Cybertrucks. They're going to need energy storage. They're going to need the AI chips, as I mentioned. Everything that Tesla makes actually needs to go there. Autonomous vehicles. We already talked about the solar panels. Everything that Tesla makes will need to make its way to a self sustaining city. That is exactly what Elon's been planning. Imagine when he uses boring tunnels to be able to build those tunnels out there. And maybe there will be some way that you need to use Neuralink. I'm not sure, but maybe there's a way that the humans, the astronauts that do go there at first, have enhanced capabilities or at least the ability to do things without their with use of their minds. Who knows? I think that one's a little far-fetched. So let's talk about the key takeaways. The key takeaways from this announcement. One, SpaceX has officially shifted priority from Mars to the moon. A self growing city on the moon in less than 10 years is the new goal. He didn't just say we're going to land on the moon, that we're going to create a city on the moon, we're going to create some structures on the moon, we're going to plant the flag. No, he's saying we're going to have a self growing city on the moon in less than 10 years. That means infrastructure, right? The ability to have food, to be able to create things. I don't know, and we'll be curious to find out where the materials are going to be and what materials you on the moon will be there for you to create data centers, new housing. I tell you, this tells you this is just a big sign that if this is now the goal, I just would not put it past Elon. Either he's going to create a brand new company, or SpaceX or Tesla will create into habitats, some sort of home structure. It's Tesla already has the HVAC system built. And so many of us have talked about having some sort of home Tesla can quickly set up. Second, Mars is not abandoned. Work starts in 5 to 6 years, running in parallel with the moon. He said that a few times. It's going to be in parallel with the moon. But the moon is the fastest path to a self sustaining off world civilization. Three, the strategic logic is iteration speed. You can launch to the moon every 10 days versus every 26 months for Mars. That's a much faster development loop. Four, Moonbase Alpha will need robots. Tesla builds robots and also kinds of robots, I imagine, not just humanoid. And I believe strongly Tesla will be creating many different form factors. Anything that has a camera on it can actually become intelligent and do tasks. The Optimus opportunity, though, is going to extend beyond Earth. Five, this strengthens the SpaceX Tesla synergy thesis, whether through a merger, an IPO, or just shared technology. These companies are building toward the same future. Elon put it simply, the overriding priority is securing the future of civilization, and the moon is faster. That's the mission. That's the why. If you're invested in Tesla, you're invested in an ecosystem that's building toward a multi-planetary future. This announcement makes that more real and more concrete than anything Elon has said before. I'll keep you updated as this develops. If you got value from this breakdown, please hit subscribe. I track every major Tesla milestone and catalyst so you don't miss a beat. And if you want, please check out the Patreon. Link will be in the description. Thank you, everybody.